Hello, and welcome to the third part of my demo of working with this Figma Console MCP. And what I'm going to do in this demo is put it up against the Figma Dev Mode MCP for component creation from a Figma component, and then see what we get. So just to give you a little lay of the land here, this is two separate projects that we have open. They're both running Claude Code. In this terminal, I have Claude Code running, and this is a coding environment that only has the Figma Console MCP available to it, not the Figma Dev Mode MCP, and then vice versa with this one. This is the Figma Dev Mode environment that has no Figma Console MCP in it, that strictly can only rely on the Figma Dev Mode MCP. And back here, I have two environments that are matching up with those terminal windows. So this one, this first tab is for Figma Dev Mode. The second tab is for Figma Console. And I'll get into what this is in a second. So let's go ahead and start off with the prompts, and then we'll get those going, and we'll see where it leads us. So this is the first prompt that I'm going to copy into the Figma Dev Mode terminal, and then this is the second prompt I'm going to post in the Figma Console. And then I'm going to go ahead and just get these going, and then it's going to take a little bit to run through some of this code so I can talk a little bit about what's going on. First, I will talk about the prompt. The prompt for Figma Dev Mode is a little different because I have to actually show it the URL and what it needs to, like where it is in the Figma file for it to reference. And then what I'm doing is I'm telling it where to find the components, where it should be located. I'm telling it where to find the styles and tokens. I'm asking it to take a screenshot to ensure that it's getting the visual likeness of the component that it is developing. I'm saying that it's most likely going to end up being a molecule because it's something I know that I can just at least help the AI a little bit and help move it along. And I'm also saying that do a little component discovery, because these components on the Figma side are composed structures that have nested components, and that please look through the code base to confirm that these components exist, and if they do not exist, please go ahead and create them. And just visually, so we can see what it is we're going to be creating. It's relatively simple. It's a molecule of sorts that has a composed structure. There's a heading in here. There's a metadata component. There's this link component, and then there's an icon feature. There's a default state and a hover state, and then we have more of a smaller, compact state here that just has less padding. And it looks like this version has no link in it. So fairly simple. So I wanted to do this just for brevity on the demo, so that way we don't stay here for too long, but there are no cuts in this. This is just all the way through. And let me take you around to the environment. So this is a non-storybook environment. This is a tool that we use called Fractal for component libraries that don't need React or don't need Angular or anything like that. These are component libraries for basically static sites, like marketing sites, and a lot of times we'll use these. This particular templating language that we're using for this one is called Twig. We might use these with like Mustache, or we might use these with handlebars, or just plain HTML. So it's pretty handy. And if you're familiar with Pattern Lab from back in the day, then you might recall like this type of static site generator with maybe a very similar look and feel and setup. So this is all, the navigation is all customizable. We use the atomic structure for this particular project, but you can put all your documentation in here, as well as just however you want to format your components. So let's go ahead and take a look at what we're doing on the code side of things. So it looks like everything's moving along pretty smoothly on the Figma Dev Mode side. It is doing some discovery for components that are nested components. It looks like it's finding them. It's doing some comparisons. It's finding the tokens and the styles. It says it's found the variants that are in there. That's great. It looks like it's getting to some code generation and then some style generation down there. So this should be wrapping up pretty soon. We'll see where that ends up landing. It looks like it's rebuilding the project. We'll see where that goes. And then let's take a look up here where we've gotten. So this is the console. Okay, we've done some discovery on it. It's getting the component for the development. It's checking the Figma file. It's finding the particular component. It's checking that path. Let's see. And it's doing some comparison with some other components that are in there. So it's got all the information that it needs. It's doing some coding, it's doing some styling, it's adding the JSON, which is like how you create the variants. It's very similar to creating stories in Storybook. Let's see, so it's going through, checking, adding all the necessary components. So this one looks like it's about to wrap up. This is towards the end. Okay, so both ended around the same time, and now's the moment of truth. So this is the Figma MCP side, the Figma Dev Mode MCP, I should say. And all right, so that doesn't look exactly like it. It looks like this should be shifted over here. But it looks like it pulled in the right styles. It's just missing that border on it. And it's got a hover state, but it's missing the drop shadow that was over there. Just as a reminder, this is what it looked like before. So this is actually, the scale isn't to scale. Let me zoom in on this. So this is what it should look like, and this is what we got. So listen, some padding. Let's see what we got on this side. Take this into account. Go here. Okay, so we got some padding. We got that right. I don't know why it's missing the border on it. We got the small version of it, which is adjusting the padding but not putting the border on it. And it's got this date only piece, which I'm not sure why it created that. But okay, I see what it's doing. Maybe just, I don't know, this one to me feels like it was a little bit further along than this one. What I'd like to do is just go back and then say, hey, it looks like we're missing the border and the drop shadow that are part of the Figma component. Would you mind doing another round trip and checking on that, please? So I'm going to take this same prompt, or the same follow-up prompt, and then I'm going to do it on this side too, and then see what it does when it does that round trip check. This happens often. Like sometimes, sometimes you'll get it 90% of the way there. Sometimes you'll get it 60% of the way there. But it's important to just have it do another check on itself to see what it did, and if it could find any of the gaps that were missing in that first iteration. And then hopefully it'll find it, apply it, and then the rest of the time we can just use our context engineer brains to go and fix the rest of it ourselves. But just out of the gate, it feels pretty good that it found the component structures, it matched up the styles accurately. It just looks like it was missing some minor aesthetic pieces. But hopefully in this round trip, it'll go ahead and catch those things and apply them. But it says, hey, I can see the issue now. This is the Figma console part of it. So this is my custom MCP. And then let's see what we have in here. Let's see. Perfect. Oh, it found it too. Let me check the border radius. There is no border radius. Oh, I hope it didn't give it that, because that's not part of it. So let's see where this ends up. So it looks like it's building that. And this is updating. This hasn't ended yet. They're almost there. Okay, so that one looks good. It says it's corrected the border and the box shadow, updated it to use these tokens. We got a similar a response on the Figma MCP side. So, okay, on the Figma MCP side, I got the border. Don't think I have the drop shadow in there. No. Let's see what the console says. It did the same thing, but I got the drop shadow on it. So, okay, this to me feels like it's something that would be context engineered the rest of the way. The majority of the structure was put in place. It didn't put the right border radius on there. But again, that might be a token mismatch with something that we actually have in our code base. But either way, it feels pretty good. I think these comparisons are fun to do, especially when it has to do with some more of these compose structures. And then I thought it'd be a fun demo to see something that's like not Storybook related. This is Fractal. If anybody wants to check out Fractal, the URL is fractal.build. If you're using component libraries that don't necessarily have to be a requirement to use something like any JavaScript libraries or frameworks, I highly recommend going with this approach. So anyway, I hope you like this demo. Let me know if you have any questions, and yeah, I'll see you in part 4.